I'm happy to present the third of our trilogy of workshops this fall with, in conjunction with Sunscreen Film Festival. Tony Armour has been so kind to be an excellent partner and put these together for us. And they've been, I think this one was much awaited, right? We had delays due to storms and all kinds of things. So at last, maybe the most anticipated stunt piece, which I was hoping was going to have live action on stage, which I'm excited to see. We didn't know if you guys are going to be rappelling from the rafters or what's going to happen.
Next time.
At any rate, this really does mark a long-term partnership between University of Tampa Film Animation New Media and Sunscreen. It's going on 20 years now. I've known Tony, which is hard to believe, but we're appreciative for everything they've done for us. They've brought our students into their film festival, allowed them to work there, as well as afforded us a student film block every year, which has been really beneficial, I think, for them to understand how to sort of move into film festival culture, etiquette, and actually networking. I think perhaps most importantly. And we appreciate Sunscreen, again, for bringing all of you to our campus. We often think that I think people have the perception that UT is a very closed system, but I'm happy to open this up for these public events to the public. I think it's important we do this, and please look forward to more of them in the future. We're happy to have you, and thank you for taking a Wednesday night to come out and participate. So I'm going to hand this off to these guys. I know nothing about stunts.
Yeah. No. Thank you, Greg. We appreciate it. Yeah, this has been scheduled a few times, and thanks to a couple of back-to-back hurricanes, ends up getting pushed to finally now, a week or so before Thanksgiving. So we're thankful that we're able to get this squeezed in before then. And a big thank you again to Greg and University of Tampa, again, longtime partners. We're always happy to do things here, and we're looking forward to now continuing this and doing more workshops throughout the coming year. I've got some ideas. And then maybe we'll start again in January and continue to do this workshop series. But we're excited today for the now long-awaited stunt workshop series or panel that we're going to do here, and excited to have Ryan Watson and Kevin Rego with us. And I guess we'll do quick intros. So Tony Armour, founder, Sunscreen Film Festival. Now we're going to our 20th year for that. I was also the film commissioner in St. Pete Clearwater for almost 9 years, then the film commissioner in Dallas for a year and a half, and now head of production for talent, entertainment, and finance. So I'll let Ryan go next.
Ryan Watson. I'm a filmmaker. Directed Paperline film, currently streaming on Amazon and Tubi. Also USF professor. Also former adjunct working with Greg here at UT. And also a Sunscreen board member.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Kevin Rego. I've been in it for a minute, since 1998. I came down from Massachusetts. I've been doing stunt work professionally since 1999. I've worked in a circus as a trapeze artist. I've gotten blown up, burned up, hit up, dropped out of buildings. I've performed in 53 countries. Let me see, a good chunk of that I spent 13 years overseas, never coming back to America, working on different sets and different stages. What else? I got these guys. We opened up a stunt school with Dave right there. I got my stunt team right there, some of my students right there. They fall downstairs and get bruises for me. What else? And I was also a Broadway performer for about a month. That's my claim to fame. Something I never set out to do.
Singing and dancing on Broadway?
I was actually for Disney. I was on a Disney theatrical for 1 month. Yep, my pat on the back.
All right, great. So as you can see, we've got a great a group up here to chat a little bit today. So just starting out, I want to talk about, I think people have a perception of what stunts in film are. People think stunt it's a fight sequence. It's, like you said, getting blown up. It is getting lit on fire, falling downstairs, high falls, all that kind of stuff. Tell me in kind of your own impressions, like what stunts are for film, television, why they're important. They're obviously fun to watch, but what is it about it that you're passionate about? And Ryan, and then we'll go to Kevin.
So for me, it's I'm an action film guy. Like that's what I grew up watching with my dad. And for the stunts, is like I had one perception of it before I started doing like stunt and choreography in my films. And the main thing is that it adds an element of excitement and an element of danger. But if you do it correctly, you don't have to be as dangerous as it seems. If you properly put the camera where it needs to be and properly prepare, it can look really, really dangerous and like someone really got hurt, but in all actuality, it didn't really happen that way because you were so prepared. So I guess like prior to directing films, I used to think that like people really got hit and stuff like that. And then when you become a filmmaker, and it does happen, by the way. Let's be clear. Some people want it to happen, where they just like, yeah, go ahead, give me one. There's a cool video online where Michael B. Jordan takes that right cross in Creed. Oh, yeah, I think it's Creed 1, and he really takes it and just crack, boom, down on the canvas. I'm sure he probably only did it once, but the point is he actually did take a shot to the face. So it's really just a matter of adding an element of excitement to the project and being safe with it. And again, it's just something that I love, like flips. I grew up a huge Ninja Turtles fan, right? So the original Ninja Turtles where you know, they had like the guys doing the nunchucks, the swords and stuff, and I remember just being like, wow, that is really, really cool. And I didn't realize the preparation that went into that until I started doing it on my own. But the element of danger, excitement, it's the same way people go to the circus, people go to, you know, it's a thrill, you know, and then the best part about all of it is that it happened and usually no one really got hurt.
Yes, I'm going to add to that. First of all, it is safe. The last thing you want to do, and this is the way, I'll say in my opinion, in my training and mentoring under different stunt coordinators and different trainers, especially in circus and fighters, you don't want to get hit. You want to avoid that as much as possible. Yes, it does happen. Accidents happen. People will get clocked. There are times where you will ask for the body shot. Stallone versus Ivan Drago, Rocky IV. He asked for those body shots, but he paid for it with a few days in the hospital. So you don't want to take those shots, especially to the face. You just walk away from that. So what I love about stunts, it's my brain fires faster than my mouth right now because I see it all. So it's the illusion. You see a magician at work. Boom, this spectacle. Wow, you got sold by it. You saw that. But there were so many moving parts. As Tim can agree, we just did something over the weekend. So many moving parts happening. But what you saw, this spectacle, the bam, the wow, the this, the that. I love the moving parts. Of course, I love that end piece, but it's the moving parts. To me, I don't need to get the awards or whatever like that. I like to be that unknown stunt guy that's in the shadows. I want to make that actor look good. It's not my job to hog the spotlight. My job is to take the fall. My job is to make sure my guys and girls do that stunt safely. Am I okay to drop the SH bomb? My job is to blow shit
This is just going to
up.
end up on YouTube, so it's fine. Yeah.
So my job is to make shit look cool. Does that make sense? I want you to go, my God, that motherfucker just got hit in the face. Sorry, but that's how excited I get about stunts. It's that seeing that spectacle, the magic, the David Copperfield, those guys, the Chris Angel, seeing that spectacle, the magic. Why do you go to the theaters? To get lost in that magic, right? When I walk on a set, whether I'm in charge of the safety or the stunts or just pulling the pad, I get lost in that magic of the stunt. Like, oh my God. And then like I touch a rope and I know there's so much energy going on to that rope. The carabiner, the jerk vest, the gator back. Those are stunts. It's not just throwing a punch. It's not just throwing a kick. That's like that much to stunts. It's the magic. And like I've worked with some really cool stunt coordinators and who've worked with like the Donners. I don't know if you guys know Superman, like the old movies.
Yeah.
So my mentor trained with Richard Donner. So he trained under him. So to see that, with Yakima Canuck, the godfather of stunts is Yakima Canuck. This is the cowboy. This is back in the day where you got paid $8 a day to do stunts. The Buster Keatons, you're lucky if you got paid, But those guys did it. Of course, there was a passion, but there was that illusion. To me, I love that illusion. I love building the illusion. I want people to go, wow, that was cool.
It's too bad that you don't have very much energy to bring.
No, I know. I haven't had caffeine yet.
I wish you could just have a little something more for the audience and whoever's watching this later on. But did you grow up watching The Fall Guy? Like,
Bro, did I watch The Fall Guy?
I'm saying, like, anybody that's a child of the '80s, like you and I'm sure, you know. Can you still sing the original Fall Guy?
I'm the stunt man who made Eastwood look so fine. Shoot,
okay,
it's on my phone right here. Yeah, but to me that is my mantra. I don't need like we just did a show, and these guys got all the spotlight. This and that and that and that and that. Nobody saw me behind pulling all the cables and running down like 5 stories of stairs. I didn't care. I didn't want the spotlight. I wanted the stunt guys to get the spotlight. To me, I want to build the magic and then step back. Take all the act, take all that. I'll take all the love. Like even last year, we did an indie show. These guys got so much love, and I just sat like this on my phone. Because I knew my job was done. I did my job. They were wowed. Like, oh my God, Indiana Jones just came down 50 feet, and then they fought, and that guy got dead, but they're friends now. That's cool. And I just sat there going, okay, I did my job. I'm good.
Well, let's talk a little bit then. You know, there's so much that goes into it, and the behind-the-scenes aspect of it, the prep and the safety behind it. Because, like you were saying, you know, you don't want to take that hit. Well, the whole point is it has to be repeatable, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have to be able to do this 1, 2, 5, 10 times, as many times as the shot's going to take, and sometimes it's not going to go right, and the camera angle is not going to be right, and that miss of the punch, the angle on the camera is a little long so you can see the gap, and so there's so much that goes into it. It has to be repeatable without getting a concussion every single time or, you know, breaking something or whatever. So talk a little bit about the safety aspect that makes it then repeatable so that you can do these shots over and over again to get what you need.
Yeah, that's a big thing. First of all, whenever you're doing stunts, it's imperative to have medical folks on your set. I cannot emphasize that enough. 9 times, like we had no incidents whatsoever. I think someone sprained an ankle and maybe got a stiff back. But you have got to have medical people, first aid, CPR, and AED. You know what I mean? Like, in case something goes wrong. And one of the things I tell my students when we're just doing the intro safety stuff in my classes is we talk about research how many people actually die on film sets or get seriously injured. It's out there, okay? Like, people do die on film sets. And, you know, I'm not in every situation to see what's going on, but I would imagine that a lot of things like preparation will eliminate that type of stuff. So you gotta have medical people on site. After that, it's rehearsal, okay? And then doing things, to your point, where you have to do it over and over. We took, like, for my film, Paperline, which is a martial arts film, there were some really high impact stunts. Fortunately, most of them went off on we nailed it on the first or second take, and then maybe we tried it a few more times. But as a director, and is any aspiring directors in the building? Okay, this is important. You have got to have the emotional intelligence to see that a performer is wearing down on these stunts. We did a massive, it was like, I don't even know what we would call the flip, where it's a knockout blow. And the guy who was absorbing the hit, he did a high impact break fall probably about 6 or 7 times. We nailed the take at about probably the second one. And then once I started to see him sort of get worn down, I was like, all right, get the mat for him. Because we were working on like standard jiu-jitsu mats. But even that takes a toll on you, and you don't want to wear these people out. As a director, if you have a habit of rubbing the stunt people the wrong way, that bad news will travel very, very fast, okay? And just to give you an example of, like, one of my guys in my film is Michael B. Jordan's stuntman, okay? In Creed and Sinners, which is about to come out next year. I wanted to make a good impression in front of this guy. He cannot go back to Hollywood and say, yo, that kid out of Tampa, Ryan Watson, he don't know shit. He had me jumping out of windows, didn't have no medics and stuff like that. Like, you don't want to have those type of things on your resume. So when we're having to repeat a take over and over and over again, you must have the emotional and intelligence to pay attention, to see to read the body language of the performers, to see is he getting frustrated, to see is his form. One of the things when you're repeating things over and over, as you get tired, it's not as sharp. Okay? The repetitions are not as sharp, the details are not as sharp, and you as a director have to be aware of what is going on and say, you know what, I think we got it. Let's move on. And it's your job as a camera person, as a director, to evaluate the space. Did we get it? Can we work with what we had? It's not worth it to keep doing it 100 times, wear and tear the stunt people, making people uncomfortable, pissing people off, for lack of a better word, just to get something that's so perfect when you as a filmmaker, there's things that you can do to move that camera, to do whatever you need to make the shot look better so that you're not, these are human beings. You know what I'm saying? And so safety has always got to be first and foremost on the agenda, especially when you have to repeat it. Now, what we did for Paperline is we did what's called a dance. Okay, and I got one of my actors right here, where we would just dance into position, so everyone would move at maybe about 25% speed for the blocking, all right? And we would not do any of the high impact stuff until we were getting ready to roll for real. So we'd be like, all right, extend, do the kick, and you work with real martial artists. They can get the kick out there and hold it, and we can measure things and do all that stuff. But we're not putting unnecessary wear and tear on the bodies of the performers until it's actually go time. And just to your point about getting kicked, I had a fool on set. Sorry to go into war story about this, but I have to get it off my chest. You couldn't see him. Brian was there for this. The camera was not on him. He was going to fall from the frame, fall into the frame, and go splat up against like a concrete pillar. So I'm like, all right, dude, just go ahead as nicely as you can, as comfortably as you can, just fall into it and splat. And I said, we'll here's a tip, jolt the camera on the impact. It makes it look like the contact is even more intense, and WWE people do that all the time. So I'm like, yo, just fall into it and splat. And he's like, well, I want to take a little bit of a shot just to fall into it. And I said, okay, well, I don't understand why you want to do that, but it is your body. Go ahead and do that. So he takes a kick, as we did it when it was on the wide shot, he takes a kick right here to the liver. And I'm like, dude, the camera's not on you. Put your hands in front of it. He refused to put his hands, so he literally kept taking that shot here, and I'm just like, so this is going to be one of them ones where we, once or twice, and we're not repeating this at all. And like, that kind of thing is stupid, okay? You don't want to take those chances, and as a director, again, intelligence, body language, okay, I got a fool here. We're going to make sure that we get this thing done quickly so that he doesn't endanger himself.
Yeah, you have to think for them, basically. And it's, I guess, something to note for whether you're a student filmmaker or anybody else making a film. If you want to be a professional filmmaker, you need to do the things professionals do. And professionals make sure things are safe. So talk a little bit more about safety. Like, what do you do to prep your team and, the safety discussions and make sure that things are safe while you're filming?
So what I say to the director is hire a stunt team. Hire trained individuals who've put months and years into training. I usually, no offense towards indie films, I usually shy away from indie films because those are the ones who will not give the time for training. They'll say, oh, I want to put my and this is my experience, and this is why I shy away. I want to put my friend in it. I want to put my so-and-so in it. Well, your so-and-so, it's not going to work with your so-and-so. I don't have the time to train that person. For what you want, it doesn't fit in your time budget or your wallet budget. So hire a professional. Hire a professional. We can always work with your budget. Or come to K75 Stunt Academy and come and train. That was my shameful plug. But come and train. Honestly, Jess, one of my stunt people, she came in. She's a SAG stunt performer now. She came in. She put in her licks. She did that training. She knows what it's like. And as for like those actors who are on stage or on a set saying, I'm gonna take the kick, to me, those are those red flags. I know this guy's a danger. I don't want this guy on set. I don't want that girl on set. This is not the people you want on set. Do you want something really good? Hire professionals. You want your plumbing done? Are you gonna hire your neighbor or are you gonna hire a plumber? You hire a plumber who has that, who has the skill. If you wanna learn how to shoot action, go learn from the stunt guys, because they'll put your body into that position. You'll know, oh, okay, this is what it takes to shoot a stair fall.
Well, and so that's a great point. Like, so you take a look at a couple of films. One, the Fall Guy, most recently, the John Wick films. Those are stuntmen who make those movies.
Yeah, a lot of
they
my
started.
friends
They
were
started out as stuntmen, became stunt coordinators,
Yep.
second unit directors, and then have gone on to now directing these major action films because they started in the stunt world and they learned how to do it on the stunt side. That now they can translate it even better into how it visually looks and how it carries the story along.
Exactly. You know exactly where to put that camera because, boom, there's an explosion behind you. And all the director wants to see is the light and the smoke of the explosion. But you'll know where to put the camera here because the car is going to flip this way or the punch is going to go a certain way. So you need to put that camera there. Or because of the stunt guy knows, I'm going to move. So I want the camera to move around me. So that's what I'm saying. When you get to these sets, for me, I start off with safety. The first thing I will say is, do you have budget for a stunt team? Doubles. Well, I don't have that. Okay, cool. Do you have budget for training? Well, I don't know. And I'll say, hey, maybe I'm not the person who can help you. Like, you have to meet me some way. For me to put that training in and to put that time in, you have to meet that way. And it's not an ego thing. It really comes down to safety and how good you want that piece to look. You want it to look great? You hire great people. You want it to look bad? Then go cheap. Just hire anybody. But I say great, get those stunt people out there. Get those people who will take those hits, who will do those stair falls, who know how to drive the car. Last thing you want to do on a stunt set is fake it to make it. People will end up dead. I've seen people get hurt really, 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 myself included. Torn pec, blown knee, chipped tooth.
Yeah, and I was going to say, one great example, I think it was The Hitman's Bodyguard, where they hired a female professional motorcycle racer, but she wasn't a stunt motorcycle person.
Right
because they're like, well, she knows how to race. She's a racer, so she'll do good. She died.
Yeah, went right through the window.
She died on set because she didn't know how to do it properly because they hired a racer, not a stunt driver.
You have to hire those people. And trust me, who's a director? Who wants to be a director here? Who wants to shoot action? Do you want to shoot good action, or do you just want to shoot action for YouTube? No offense towards YouTube. But you know what I'm saying. Honestly, you guys want your stuff on the silver screen, right? You want that. So you want to put the best camera guy on your team. You want to put the best colorist on your team. You want to put those tools. You want to hammer nails? Do you use a screwdriver to hammer nails? Who knows how to build? Who's a carpentry guy? Honestly, who's a carpentry guy? I'm a carpentry guy. Who's a rigger? Who's a pyro guy? Who's a painter? Okay? Who's a driver? Who's a diver? Stunt guys. Stunt guys try to learn everything.
Yep.
So they have all those tools. So when you need that, the stunt guy will go, oh, you want me to go through that wall? Perfect. Is the wall scored? Is there room behind the wall? Is there this? Oh, you want me to take the hit? Cool. Do I know on the corner of my eye that's where the medic is? For me, when I walk on a set, the first thing I say is like, medic, right there. Always an eye shot. Like you said, you always want to have that medic. Always on eye shot. Do I know? Hey, I'm going to do a fire burn? Do I have enough gel for the fire burn? What kind of fire burn we're going to do? I'm not going to just come in and say punch, punch, kick, kick, and fake it. And then next thing you know, poor Mitch has got third-degree burns because I wanted to look cool in front of the director. I'm okay. And I have done it. I've said no to directors because they said, I want this and I want that. I was in the middle of a Colombian jungle. And I had to say no to a 2-time Emmy Award winner. I said, no. He's like, why not? I said, A, B, C, and D. He's like, okay, I'm cool with that. The rest of his team was like, you don't say no to so-and-so. I said, I just did. I'm sorry for saying no. They're like, oh my God, you can't say no, you can't say no. And that director went and signed a letter of recommendation to Apple Studio and said, hire this guy, bring him out to New Mexico. And I was in New Mexico for 7
Well,
months.
and it was safety. You know, it's
was
always,
safe.
it's
It was a
always about
safety call.
safety. So Ryan, you wanted to say.
Yeah, so on the topic of hiring people, we were independent for my film, but we had very experienced guys in there, and there were 2 actors who had never really done any martial arts. So what I did is I found some money, be prepared to maybe not eat, do what you got to do, find some money, and I got my 2 actors enrolled at Gracie Pack MMA where my kids train, and they trained for, both of them trained for 2 months. 2 months, falling, punching, kicking, all of those things. And when they got to set, and obviously, you know, I didn't put them in a situation where I was going to ask them to do too much. You know what I'm saying? Again, reading the room and knowing what people's capabilities are, specifically when you're working on a low budget for independent film, which is where we all start. Okay, them boys was training at Gracie Pack, break, fall, roll, stand up, all of those things, and I did it for 2 months, okay, just to get them in rhythm. So then when they got on set with the rest of the guys, we had, I mean, just like, I was like 8 or 9 black belts there across the film. But we always made sure that anyone who was not comfortable doing a basic break fall, which they are going to show you guys what that looks like here in a few minutes, you got like, you just
That's
have
just
to
for
invest.
sleeping. That's for whoever gets tired. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to invest in stuff like that, and it matters. If you don't take the time to invest in stuff like that, people will talk about your ass, okay? And you will have a bad reputation, and your career will be, I won't say it'll be finished, because people make mistakes. It will not move as fast as it should, or it could, because you're making poor choices when it comes to safety and taking care of the people who are involved in your film.
Well, let's talk a little bit about training then, because training, you know, so when I was in Dallas, I had Freddie Poole, who is Stallone's stuntman and second unit coordinator. We did a stunt workshop there, which was kind of the inspiration for that one. It was great, you know, having Freddie there, you know, when it's Stallone's guy, and so I was like, well, we can do one in Tampa, would be great to do too. But, you know, he talked about, you know, from a training perspective, he grew up with a martial arts background, and so that's how he got started in the stunt world as far as, you know, the fighting aspect goes, because he started with a martial arts background. So martial arts as a background to start for the fighting, but then there's so much else. And I know, obviously, Kevin, you've got the stunt school. So talk a little bit about, you know, where people can get started as a performer, and is it important for maybe a director as well to know some of this so they can understand then what they're directing?
100%. So I trained martial arts as a kid, and then I stopped. I got into team sports, became a cameraman, and started having kids, put my kids in martial arts, started training there. And so when I'm approaching these world-class stunt people, they kind of asking me, like, you know, who is this professor guy trying to do this action movie? I don't know him. What does he know? Oh, yeah, brown belt taekwondo, Gracie Pack, MMA, Muay Thai, as well as Jiu-Jitsu, and right now I train at Tampa Wing Chun. So for me personally, it was important for me to show these guys that I had a respect and appreciation for what they do. And what that meant for me is I took a break fall on the set. Everywhere we went, we were at this old ice house in Clearwater. Lord, thank God nothing bad happened there. Tony was...
I showed up on set and I was like, all right, this doesn't look real safe. I'll hang out for about 10 minutes and leave. That's when I was film commissioner still.
Yeah, we had divine intervention to get it done. The Lord wanted us to get this movie done, and nobody ever got hurt. But there was this, like, it was like a hardwood floor. Underneath it was like a soft pad, but it was still pretty hard. I went in there as a director. I had someone film me, and I took a real live break fall on this hardwood floor and showed it to my guys and said, look, I did it what y'all want to do? You want me to put the mats on it, or you want to go with the wood? They were like, take the mats. But the point is, they saw me actually do it. You know what I'm saying? When we got up there and we're warming up at the rehearsals, I jumped right in the line with them, did everything with them, broke out in the sweat, and then I fell back, got out of the way. But the point is, they could see that I had respect for it, and I wasn't going to ask them to do anything that I wasn't willing to do myself. Break fall on the wood with some padding underneath it, fine. Break fall on martial arts pads, cool, he's ready to do it. Roll and stand up, all of those things. It just added more value to my personal brand as a director to show that I'm actually willing to do it, so that I wasn't just some fool sitting on set like, yeah, fall on that concrete. Do it 15 times. It's just like the respect that you gain. And I wasn't doing it, even though like I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. Vince McMahon, who's obviously, got some issues. The thing that I learned from watching him all the years is that he would never allow his wrestlers to do things like stunts coming from the ceiling and stuff like that. They threw a bunch of guys in a dumpster and pushed it off the stage with a bunch of like it was like styrofoam in it. He did those stunts first before anyone else was allowed to even attempt it. And those guys respected the hell out of him for it, because he wasn't just some guy with the money that was just going to put it out there and tell you to do stuff and risk your life over it. He was willing to do it and show you that, all right, if I do it, so can you, okay? So it's imperative to have that, approach it with that kind of attitude. There are limitations. I can't do no flips. You feel me? Like, I can't try to do, like, all the stuff those guys were doing in front of Martin Cove and all that stuff. Like, there's no way in the world I could do that. But I can do the basic things physically, a hard break fall, roll, stand up, all of those things. Simple things that don't mean much to you as a director, but it means a lot to the people that you're going to hire.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more about training. So obviously, good opportunity to pitch the stunt school, but so training again. Ryan talks about the martial arts and the fighting aspect, but there's a lot more. Talk about the training that's needed and that goes into kind of being able to. As a kid growing up, I wanted to be a stuntman, but Toledo, Ohio, in the '80s and the '90s, I don't know where you're going to learn to be a stuntman. It doesn't work out.
Anywhere, honestly. Yes, I had a martial arts background. But I also grew up on the coast. So I surfed, I skateboarded. I was a pretty damn good skateboarder and a surfer, and I snowboarded and stuff. All that got me into circus because I was a short, squat guy. So I got into circus, and I just, as you go, it's like a snowball effect. You just start picking up all that training. Like, I'll say, one of my guys is a kung fu guy. I'll say, hey, I trained this. Show me that. Okay, you're a horse guy. Can you show me how to do the horse? I need to fall off a horse. So I'll start training with those guys. You pick up all those different skills as you go along. And even the soft skills, like I mentioned before earlier, like the carpentry, the building, the chemistry, especially when you're making like a fire burn. So all that comes into play for stunts. And it builds and it builds and it builds. But at the same time, too, I'm going to be different from you on this. Never walk on a set and just throw yourself on stunt equipment that's not yours. because when you said you're going to do a break fall on my pads, I was like, are you now?
No, I'm not doing
No. But that's to me, because I'm also a safety guy. I'm super safety conscious. And my little kids have been on set with monster trucks, with horses. My little girl's doing high falls now, and she's 7. But I'm at the same time, I'm a helicopter dad. But I'm a helicopter dad for my stunt people. But I also demand a lot from my stunt people. If you're gonna walk on a set with me, I expect you to be able to do all that stuff. If I vetted you out, I expect you to have that stunt bag. If you don't have a stunt bag, you're not a stunt guy. You're not a stunt girl. That stunt bag is the first thing you have. It's your first set of tools. It's that stunt bag. Jess has got her stunt bag with her. Bring it on set. That's where you start. You start building those gears. Like I said, I do demand a lot of these stunt people, because at the end of the day, they can get hurt. They can get hurt on your watch. I don't want anyone to get hurt on my watch. I want the action to be cool. I want that arm. But I demand that you should be able to do that forward roll. I don't care that you can kick. Anybody can kick lots of times, and I see that. But when I've asked, and I've been on a set where I come in for a friend's favor for their indie film, and like I'm not poo-pooing indie. I've done a lot of indie. I love indie. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes it's that line. It's like, I'm going to give you that respect. Please give me that one. If I ask you to do this action, you better do that action. But when they say I can do this, this, and this, okay, cool. Give me a shoulder roll. Oh, I don't know what that is. Get off the set. Get off the set. You just wasted my time, and you just put these people in danger. You just wasted the director's time. You just wasted that time. I'm very hard.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about, too, the stunts. So we're talking about a lot of different stunts, rolls and falls and kicks and all that kind of stuff. Are there other things that are also stunts on set? If somebody's riding a bike, that's considered a stunt. You have a couple people playing basketball. Those are considered stunts. So there are so many things that go into shooting that are not your typical, what you think of as a stunt. Well, how do you make those safe, whether it's riding a bike or playing basketball or any just physical activity that's still considered a stunt that you could have a double for the actor for, depending on what it is?
It's the chess pieces. This is where I love. This is where I think I excel. It's just chess pieces. I spent 2 whole days in Massachusetts in the water, in the coast, making sure these 2 little girls didn't drown because the director wanted to shoot them playing in the waves. So I was like, okay, cool. I got this. I need a lifeguard over there on Shark Watch because we're off the Cape. The Cape has got great whites. You know what a great white is, right? The giant motherfucking shark.
Everybody saw Jaws. It takes place in
it's
Massachusetts.
A giant shark. I had a lifeguard there. I had a lifeguard there. I had a lifeguard there. I had EMTs behind me. I'm in the water, literally. If the camera's shooting right here, I'm right here, right by them. The director's in the water. The AD's in the water. We were all in the water surrounding these girls. And we shot the scene 2 days in a row. It's just them going over.
And it just and on camera, and then it just looks like them playing in the waves. But then you don't see 10 people standing around that are all the safety people just for 2 kids playing in the waves.
And especially because it's 2 kids, you got to go above and beyond. The thing too, per SAG rules, no kids doing stunts. Yep. So I had these 2 kids, and this is a SAG feature too. I had them in the water, so I was like, ooh, we built this force field around them. I do that with pretty much lots of my things. I'll start thinking, okay, I need to do stunt A, whatever it is, bike ride, just sliding into home base, just swinging on a rope. I start thinking, okay, swinging on a rope, is the rigging set up? Do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have all those little set pieces? Do I know, like, if I have to bring in my stunt crew, who am I gonna bring? Okay, I know this guy's a fighter, perfect. This guy's a sword fighter, perfect. Oh, this guy's a water guy, and he's an EMT. We might be having fire. If EMT can't get to him, I know I'll bring so-and-so in. I'll be like, hey, Wyatt, what are you doing? Want to make $1,000? Come on set. I need you on here right now. and that's what I do. It's those little pieces that people don't see when you're coordinating. The director's got so much going on. You have one hat. When you walk on set, what hat are you wearing? Are you the director or are you the stunt coordinator? Be the director. Make that magic. The stunt coordinator does this. Now it's my job. Let me do me, and I'll get you your magic.
And just to piggyback on that, everyone should get familiar with union rules. That's a big thing because, again, you can't just, to your point, you can't just go and jump on someone's stunt mat if you're not part of their team. There's like film chain of command is a real thing. Obviously, on the independent circuit, it's just get it done. But developing good habits, like I don't think anyone in here becomes a filmmaker to just live and die on the independent circuit. Like you want to grow, you want to be that person. There's a lot of opportunities to grow and make a lot of money if you hang in there. But getting familiar with rules and regulations and starting with good habits. You know what I'm saying? When you have good habits on your set, again, even when you don't have to, independent films a lot of times is non-union, right? So you can do things that ideally you probably could not get away with if it is a union production. But if you run a clean operation as if you are trying, work for the job you want, not the job you have. You know what I'm saying? So work for the job you want, not the one you have. Run a clean ship to the point where it's like if the union people walked on here, even though it's not required, they're going to say, oh, okay, at least these people, they don't have to do it, but they are. They're trying their best given the circumstances. It's a small detail, but it means something.
And Kevin, so you were going to do a little demo here. Why don't you?
Yeah, I know. He said he's gonna do a break fall.
No,
You said it.
I was
trying to get
saying
you to.
metaphorically speaking. I said that is
No,
what
it's a
I did on my
metaphoric
set.
Yeah, no, I rub people. I'm intense, as you can tell. I'm a pretty
I'm not
intense
falling.
guy. And like,
I'm going to do a break fall just.
I'll do a roll. I can do a
That's it.
roll.
I'm done.
No,
I'm
you know,
done.
in reality, I'm not gonna do anything on there. My people are gonna do stuff on there.
Yeah.
Let
So why don't
them-
we have your people come up and start getting prepped, and we'll keep chatting while they're getting prepped.
But to piggyback on that thing, it's not like, yes, there's that respect, but it's that safety. As soon as you start following your lane, we would say stay in your lane. But that translates not just in film work, on theater. Oh my God, I would hear that all the time on these touring shows. Stay in your lane, stay in your lane. Because I was props at the time, and I would grab a power cable because it was in my way. And you weren't allowed to touch that. And these are union shows and non-union shows. And you hear stay in your lane. And it's not like this is mine, I peed on it. It's more like, hey, that's my job. Let me do my job. But then it's also safety. I don't want you to get hurt because guess what? That was a live wire. You could have gotten blown up. So it's that when you work in an indie set, always conduct that as a professional because it goes super far. I've worked on some sets where I was on a union show and I said, these MNFs don't have a clue what's going on. And this is a big show. And then I worked on a super low budget, and I was like, this guy, he gets it. He gets it. That's why he brought me on. Because he knows, I don't want to take a hit. I don't want to go crashing through my Tesla window. So, like, you can see that. So you see that, and it happens. Stay in your lane. Follow those rules. Nobody gets hurt. And then, trust me, at the end of it, you do get that magic. You do. Who knows David Copperfield? You get that David Copperfield moment. Boom, that magic. You do get it. So, yeah.
Kevin, why don't you start prepping your guys, whatever they're going to do here, and then Ryan, while that's getting set up, we can talk a little bit about stunts to service the story.
Yes.
Right? Like the purpose of the stunts is to drive the story along in some way. Otherwise, you're just watching stunts happen, which can be fun, but after a while, actually could get kind of boring. Yeah. So, how do you use stunts to enhance the story, drive the story along, and make sure that it's not just stunts for the sake of stunts?
So again, going back to the original theme, which is wear and tear and making sure that everything means something, all right? If you're going to put people in a situation where they're putting their body at risk, you should do so the story is what you're trying to build on. It's very, very easy to get caught up in the beauty of the stunts that are going on. There's footage somewhere. I always do behind the scenes on all my sets, and like when I'm watching the monitor, I'm like I'm just doing stuff like that to
like when you're
of,
playing video games and you're trying to make it happen, but
and you don't realize that all right. We're going to be inserting a cutaway, a reaction shot in here somewhere. If somebody takes a massive bump that's like really impressive, it's like a knockout blow, you have to complement that with a reaction shot like, oh shit. Like you have to have that in your movie. Okay, so it can't always be about all the stunts. Yes, you want to have the high impact things, but it's always about how are we moving it forward? So a case in point, for Paperline, it ends on like where all of the pledges of the fraternity, they all end up in submission holds being told, look, you give up or else, right? We shot a mini sequel to that, okay? At the end of it, like it was going to be sort of a coming of age. How did our pledges grow up to be now big brothers and take on the guys that hazed them into the fraternity? The end sequence of the short is we set it up specifically to have it look like it was going to be the submission hold again, only this time the guy flips out of it and wins the fight. So while I could have really taken, I've got guys that do all kinds of like the craziest action stunts that you can imagine, nunchucks, bow staffs, swords, all of that stuff. But it don't really make sense for me to have them doing that on a college campus. You know what I mean? Like
right. If that was the point of the story is that's where it takes place.
Absolutely. And I could have been really sort of just like locked into, oh my God, these are 4th degree black belts and higher. Let me go ahead and let them do whatever they want to do, even though it doesn't serve a purpose. I couldn't make everyone look like Bruce Lee on this movie. There's one Bruce Lee, and he kicks everybody else's ass. So even though there's other guys who have Bruce Lee capabilities, I can't make them be doing all these ridiculous stunts because I'm supposed to be showing them grow. Who watches Cobra Kai in here? Okay, so like if you the latest season, honestly, from my like educated eye, they really put a lot of real life martial artists in this next one where they do like the international karate tournament. So they really got to let loose. But even if the guys were trained as martial artists prior to season 6, you can't have them acting like they're Bruce Lee, even though they're very capable in season 1 when we're supposed to be showing the growth. That doesn't make sense for your story to have them being perfect and be able to kick everybody's ass, even if they can in real life. You have to make an educated decision on how you're going to build the stunt work into the story so that it makes sense, so that you end up on the high side of Rotten Tomatoes.
All right, so we've got some stuff going over here. Kevin, why don't you walk us through, tell us kind of what's happening, what are we setting up here?
Okay, cool. So, as you guys can see, we're setting up a stunt right now. This is what we call a jerk pull or ratchet. You'll hear different names for it. This is where my brain starts going faster than my mouth, so just keep up sometimes. So, Brian is wearing a jerk vest. Come here. I demand a lot from my guys. I'm very rough.
And the jerk vest isn't just because nobody likes him.
No, he's a jerk.
Okay.
No, I like Brian sometimes. No, actually, the jerk vest is like the vest of the stunt performers. Like whenever you go on a movie, name a movie, Matrix, whatever movie, it's that right there. On the cover of The Fall Guy, he's wearing that right there. This is to make you fly. This is to make you go through walls. Turn around. You got points for all the wire going here and turn around, even to make him flip. If I wanted to make him flip, I would just rig him up, and he'd go. All he'd have to do is jump, and he'd go flying, flipping, whatever I wanted him to do, because I'd be in control of him. How much do you think this vest costs? $800 for a vest. So, how much do you think a person costs? A lot. This is why I say hire professionals, because they come with this very expensive gear to make everything look cool.
So yeah, you want somebody who they're going to come with their own jerk vest.
They have
their bag. They have their.
The jerk vest. No, the jerk vest is not usually a part of your stunt bag. Your stunt bag is your personal pads, knee, elbow, helmets, mouth guard. Those things. That's part of your stunt bag. The jerk vest usually. The studio will provide that because we're doing a specific stunt. Is it cool? Do you have your own? Yeah, I have 3 of them. So I have it. So because I want these guys to do what I've done, and I want them to do stuff that I've never done, but I know how to build it. So he's wearing a jerk vest. I think, what do you have, low profile? Nothing on right here.
Nothing.
Okay, so if we were working on a hardwood floor, he would already have his pads on. Since we're falling into a resi pad and panel mats. These are the panel mats right here. Your judo mats, your wrestling mats, whatever you want to call them. We call them panels because they fold into panels. And this is your resi. It's big and soft, so you can take a hit, a pretty hard hit, and not get hurt. Now we're going to attach. Jess, can you hook them up?
And so while you're hooking them up, Ryan, you talk about, now you're going to shoot this. The whole point isn't just to make them fall down, but you want to film it. So, so it's a kick. You're kicking him.
Here.
He's flying backwards. So what do you want this to look like from a director's perspective from filming it so that it looks good on camera because you're not going to actually give him where you're going to, little love tap maybe,
He's going to give him a little contact.
So what you want to do first and foremost is there's a couple of things. You want to get a shot that can be used independent of any sort of special effects editing that may or may not be able to take place. So if the kick is coming from where you're going to hit him from, You don't kick them this way. What I would probably do as my quote-unquote safety shot, just to make sure that I've got something, if the world goes to hell, every special effects person in the universe disappears, I still have something that I can use to honor this man's body, this sacrifice that he's about to, because I think it's really sad to me when I see guys take a big shot and then it doesn't make it in the film. That just, that makes me sad. You know what I'm saying? So from right here, this angle, if that kick comes in and he flies back, are you going to stand right there? Is that, if you want to, I'll block you off right here. So what I'm going to try to do here is sort of situate my camera in a situation where I'm not going to necessarily see the people behind him, okay? Which is going to be kind of difficult to do, but if you drop it down a little bit, like I don't see anything. So assuming that we're doing this on a stage, if we want a real set, that'd probably be a significant amount of space behind them.
I'm going to piggyback to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you just have to get the camera to a situation where you don't see as many props as possible.
Well,
there
and
are
maybe
ways to
there'd be
eliminate.
something between them. There's a fake wall or something.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, so you don't see the people pulling the...
But the rope is an issue. You gotta account for that specifically on your safety shot. So when the kick comes in from right now, I would probably do it right here. Foreground, middle ground, and then background. And again, the goal being to see his face as he takes that shot where he's like, whoa, like we gotta have that. You're not gonna get that from any other angle, okay? Intensity, those crazy moments that we see that we fall in love with in cinema happen because we can see the reaction of the person who's taking the shot. So my first shot that I would take is right here, is the safety shot right here. Performer A, performer B, impact and reaction. It's gonna happen from right here. Do you have?
No, I was going to piggyback. Yes. What I would do here, first of all, for the rope, I usually don't use this kind of rope. For training, we do. I would use a rope called Tech 12. It's this tiny, tiny, tiny thread, easily erasable. You don't even see it, actually, when you get foggers going on, and you wouldn't see it. And then
Because you could put some atmosphere, you get a little
yeah,
fog or
Yes.
something,
atmosphere,
and then you don't see it. Yeah.
And I would put either a wall here, but because, as you can see, I was positioning Brian a little bit more ahead, because not only would I shoot front, I'd shoot about 2 o'clock. So then you'd see that distance of him going through the wall and smashing the shit out of that wall or whatever is there, him slamming into the wall, especially because this is a straight pull. So we have to do test pulls. You'll see here, he'll just come down. But if I put another rope, instead I'm just to go a little higher, I'd say I want him to go up here as if he got like blasted by some superpowered demon and then slide down the wall. I would do that. But again, I would do that same thing. I'd shoot this way, and I'd shoot that way, and shoot. I'd shoot this way because I'd have that Tech 12. And you wouldn't see this carabiner. You wouldn't see this. What you would see is like a quick link, if anything, attached right there under his clothes.
And After Effects has a cable removal feature in there where it's I don't know any After Effects folks in here. There is a cable removal feature in After Effects where you can remove them. But again, his point it boils down to coverage. We all know what coverage is, right? This angle, that angle. And again, just making sure you have options. So if you want to go ahead.
No, don't go yet. Don't go yet.
We'll wait for
Don't
that.
go
Not
yet.
yet?
Okay. What we would do is these guys are trained to go. We have cues that we go through, steps, safety steps, and stuff like that. So right now we haven't tested. We have 2 pullers. We have Mitch pulling. We have Jess pulling. They've done this stunt at our stunt school, but right now you have to take into. Can you guys hear me?
Well, we are recording audio, though, so if you do the
sorry,
mic, so
okay.
yeah.
It'd be better if I had like a headset. So we have to take into effect how much he weighs and what distance we want him to travel. So me as a stunt coordinator working with the director, he'd say, I want him to blast straight through. Of course, Tim is not going to drill him. He might throw a little that, if anything, but he's going to throw that with the whip of his leg. And I'd say, let's test Brian without the kick. Let's do one quick pull. So we would say, stunts, ready? Stunts, ready. So we'd start pulling tension on the rope. On action. 3, 2, 1, action, hop! As we can see, he traveled Was that a lot of energy? To me, it wasn't enough. I wanted him to go flying more. So I would put him, I demand a lot of these guys. So this is where I would say, you know, your stunt bag comes in handy. Your pads, your elbow pads, your mouth guard, your knee pad, even a helmet, as mine is over there. So I'm gonna kick this bag a little bit more. I'd say, hey, Brian, where's the pad? Right, yep, visualize you landing on it. Guys, how much power? That was about, what, 50? Let's tweak it up give me another 20. And then try to get him to land here. Right there. Okay, stunts, you ready?
Stunts ready!
Also, very important, at the end of the stunt, you can say, I'm fine all day. I need to see this. Thumbs up. You do that high fall? Thumbs up. You get hit by a car? Thumbs up. You just got set on fire and EMTs are checking you out? Guess what? I'm good. Every stunt performer does this. It's international. Everyone goes, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, guys? Remember that. If you're on a set and your stunt person doesn't do this after a set, that's a sign. Something's not right there. So look for that. Okay? Okay, guys. Stunts ready? 3, 2, 1, action! Booyah! That's what I want to see. Now we're going to throw in a kick guy. Yeah, shaka, shaka. So now we say, this is all before handing it over to the director and the camera guy. I'd say, hey, stand here, watch, so you know where to shoot.
Right, and repeatable. Like we talked about earlier, these have to be repeatable because not only you're doing the warm-up, you're doing the takes, how many takes you're going to end up doing, you're going to do from different angles, so everything has to be repeatable without getting hurt. This is why the pads are super important for repeatable stunts. There are one-and-dones, like when you have to smash a truck through a restaurant. That's a one-and-done. You don't get practice. But what you do is you guys can rehearse because you built a team. This is when you don't bring newbies on. You have your seasoned vets who will say, Tim, Naples show, rappel, fight, German mechanic. He already knows what I'm saying because he's seasoned. He and I have seasoned each other to know our work. I'd say these guys, hey, dead man, pole, tie off, Brian's taking the hit. They know that Brian's going to do pretty much this, but under his own power. It's because we're seasoned with code words. And then working with the director, they start saying, okay, cool. The seasoned guys, let me stand back. The camera guy, okay, let me see where I can shoot, especially when shooting a fight scene, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So now Tim is going to throw a little bit of whip ass on him, all on the same call. And this is still rehearsing. And then I'll hand it over to the director to do everything. Okay, stunts, you ready?
Ready. Stunts ready.
Ready?
Ready.
We got with solid. Stunts ready? And this is where I demand a lot. Stunts ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, action! See, the timing was off. You got to go on a hup. You guys saw that. It's really good to see mess-ups because it happens. Now, if it was someone who wasn't seasoned, I'd be like, oh, man, I shouldn't have brought this guy on set. But since I know Brian can take a hit, this is where I throw my notes. Cool, that was a nice take. Guys, on the boom, so hup is the same thing as the kick. Got it? So that'll be your action. Stunts, ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, action! Timing's still off. This is where we start tweaking it down. Okay, on action, you're gonna kick them. So you're just gonna kick them on action. So you're gonna go on action. Got it, guys? This is where this is where those rehearsals come in. This is how you avoid injuries. And this is good. You need this stuff. And I'm glad you guys are seeing these things because you wanna see. You don't wanna see someone get hurt, but you wanna see where they can get hurt. Okay, guys? On action, you're gonna pull on action, you're gonna kick them on action. So it's all simultaneously. That's a big word for me. I would usually say at the same time. I couldn't spit out simultaneously. So on the same time. Okay, guys, stunt ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, action! Boom. And there's your stunt. Who wants to see Brian do it again? Okay, handing it over to the director.
So, I mean, I was pretty happy with that. You hire good stunt people so you don't feel like you have to slide back in there and tell them what to do. Like, that's just, again, pre-production people, very, very important, all right? I was pretty happy with that. And probably what I like to do as a director is I always have my A cam specifically for stunts, and I do get the B cam just in case to again max out in case. Look, maybe he doesn't get up, but you got it at 2 different angles, and it's important. So we go through the motions here. I would like for you to walk into this like. At this point, assuming I'm filming from this side, just sort of walk. You get your hands up like you're ready to fight, and then I want you to walk on in there and then just serve them. Okay?
Claire, why don't you bring a camera up?
Yeah,
You got a
let's
camera right there.
get Claire to come on up
simulate
and
with
let's
the camera.
film this, and we'll share this on the
Ryan, will you
Instagram
be
page.
calling action?
Yes, I will call action.
Will you be doing this is me as a stunt coordinator when I step up. Will you be doing a rehearsal into the walk up before the hit?
Sure.
Okay.
Just to block it up, just to, so.
So
Claire,
where do you want the
Sorry.
camera now? So
Claire.
now you've got camera.
Let's go Claire right here, all right?
I say to my stunt
what I
guys.
wanna have happen is I want actually back up a little bit. Let's follow him in. So I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Tim. Tim, stand up right here. All right, and now Claire, back up. And I want you to sort of just like, let's start lower, like on him, so we're getting sort of that. There we go. Yes, I love it. Go a little bit wider. Back up. Yeah, all right, that's cool. So make sure, yeah, I like that shot. So just, you guys can't tell what's happening here, but I have it framed up so that I've got Tim in the foreground. He's going to sort of walk into this. So back up a few steps, Tim. And yeah, that's fine. And then just like, you're going to walk into it and she's just going to get it. Now, when the impact comes, Claire, just slightly move a little bit this way, and you can feel free to sort of just jolt the camera just a little bit right on the impact. Just a little bit, and then you just follow him in, like, on the impact, so like, sort of like.
So when he goes, he'll fold.
And then follow him all the way through the roll, okay? So we go through our normal keys and all that stuff. Your first AD calls the slate, blah, 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 blah. Everybody ready, camera set, we have speed. All right.
So, but I've told my guys not to pull because it's a rehearsal with the movement.
Yeah. All right. So 3, 2, 1, action. Walk in. All right. Good. Let's back up a little bit more. Okay. Actually, are you, I see what the issue is. Stop rolling, please. Go to, switch to 24. So we can get.
So this is why you're setting up your camera and everything ahead of time. So you're practicing this. They're setting the camera because it's all the moving parts together, right?
Yeah.
It's not just it's 2 people pulling. It's 1 person falling, 1 person kicking. You've got the camera person.
Crap.
You've got the sound person somewhere. People are mic'd up. You've got boom. So all those moving parts. None of this happens fast. All these moving pieces have to go into perfect sync in order to get the shot and the shot that you want. Because that's the whole point: is get the shot.
And it's constant tweaks, because I'd say, hey, so I talk to directors, hey, just so you know, I didn't like the way he was falling because it didn't look right. To give you the action that you want, I dropped the carabiner down, so now Tim is going to kick him low to give him that folding action. So if we were shooting sideways, you'd get that good yank of him doing a taco. You guys know what a taco is? That's a taco, yeah. So for me, I'd say, hey, so I gave you those tweaks so going into it. It's going to look different from the rehearsal. And Are you guys ready to go? And they're ready to go if you
We're
want to
going to do one more walkthrough in. We changed the frames per second from 60 to 24. So let's get one more walk in there just to frame that up. I think I'm going to like this. Yes, please follow him. All right. Go ahead, camera speed. All right. And 3, 2, 1, action. Pretty good. I thought that was that works for me. All right. So I'm happy with the blocking again. And we roll on this just because we never know whether or not maybe this is going to be a good walk up. Maybe something's going to happen later on.
Well, and you could cut to the
You
reverse
can cut to the
as well.
reverse
You can-
angle. The walk up, the action is going to take care of itself on the impact. But the walk up, again, it's a little moment that you might have in your back pocket that you can use. Trailer or the actual film, you actually want to have that in there. That's why we roll on something like that. So I think I'm ready to go. We're ready to, let's do it for real this time.
On your action.
All right, Claire, let's move a little bit this way. All right, and so again, just make sure we get that impact. All right, go ahead. We got camera speed. All righty. Let me know when you're set. All righty. In 3, 2, 1, action. Pretty good. Cut.
Right, so that was a little bit more taco, and he didn't go sort of ass over tea kettle like the last
Follow
couple
him all
because
the
you
way
had
in
him
this time.
high up, so that
Like,
the last few he was
follow him,
flipping
like,
over,
boom.
and basically doing
That's
a
where the
backward
carabiner
somersault.
angle,
And
yeah.
so now you move the carabiner down,
want him to go
and it's
further
more
out.
of that taco look where he's
yeah,
flying
yeah.
straight
Just follow
backwards
him
as
all the
opposed
way
to
to the-
flipping over after he's
Yeah.
been hit.
I want you to fly. Let's go.
All right. We're going to do one more on this angle, and then we'll go to the reverse.
Yeah. Hey, make him fly. If he goes out of control, catch him.
All right. Cameras got speed. All right. In 3, 2, 1, action. Beautiful. Beautiful.
There you go. That's
Ryan.
worth an
I
applause.
loved it. All right. Now, not to get lost in the stunts and all that. As a director, and this is just Ryan Watson's opinion, it's important to get that close up of him landing. So you would maybe not even. And this again goes to where we talk about saving someone's body, because I'm not going to put the camera on him here. There is no reason for him to actually take the kick in that situation. It would be 3, 2, 1 pull. We pull him, and we get the break fall and the impact and him rolling around in pain and something like that. There is no reason for him to take the actual shot here. Okay, just to reiterate that. So,
And even if you were
on
doing
that, you
like
don't
let's
need
say
the
you're doing an extreme close up or a close up, all you need is
Him
this
forward.
shot. This pad isn't here. This pad
Absolutely.
isn't here anymore. He's got pads
So-
on his back, and then the camera's here, and it's
falls
literally
into
almost
it
he's
without
just
that.
falling into it without
so
getting
let's
jerked.
let's just get him
Let's tap.
get him like landing right here. If you can.
Brian,
Yep.
go big. Sell
All right.
it.
So
Then-
for the close up of him actually landing, you don't need to do the whole thing all
No.
the way through from beginning
No.
to end. It's just the final piece, basically.
Yep. So just like and then like get all the way in there on his face. All right. No. I want him to fall into it. All right. And then just zoom in. In 3, 2, 1, action. Beautiful. All right. Maybe you use it, maybe you don't. But cinema is not a race. Okay. It's not like you got to have those beats and those breathing room, those moments to let the big shot simmer. Okay. If you have an amazing high impact move, you can't just move on to something else. You got to give the audience time to digest that shit, to be like, dang, is he really hurt? Like, if you don't do that, you're not doing your job as a as a storyteller. All right? So
Well,
I'm pretty happy with that. Are you happy, cinematographer? Okay. Well, on the close up? Yeah. Okay, let's get the close up one more time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. All right, you ready? Camera speed. Camera set, stunt ready. And 3, 2, 1, action.
So, and I think this is all great, and I think something to note, and Kevin, you would know about this. Some of you may have seen, there's a documentary out, I think it's on HBO, about Harry Potter, about the stuntman, Daniel Radcliffe stuntman, that was paralyzed from doing a very similar stunt to this. So it was a pull stunt, but it was a machine
Yep.
that was pulling him
Ratchet.
as a ratchet machine.
Yep.
And they had it cranked up a little too high, and he went into pads on a wall and broke his back, basically, and he's paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And so while this looks super safe right now, these are experienced stunt people who have done this over and over, and it's another reason for safety. You're talking, the Harry Potter films, these are highly paid, well-trained stunt people, and people still can get paralyzed on something like that. So it's why it's important, even if you're a student filmmaker and you're doing things and you don't have any money, find a way to do it professionally and get people. Go to stunt school at least for a couple of months to learn how to do it before you're shooting your student films or whatever it might be, because again, it looks great on camera, but safety is always the most important thing, and I think that's one thing that we want to preach over and over again in this is doing the stunts safely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so what we're going to do now, we're getting our coverage from the other angle. I'm pretty sure from my directing eyes suggest that when the impact happens, we're going to use that side. But we still want to get our coverage on this side. He looks badass walking into this shot here, so I want to get that intimidating shot of him walking into this fight, this time keeping Brian in our foreground and then Tim in the background. We're going to get this angle right here, getting that kick. And we'll probably, this is one of those ones where I would be like, I would want my camera person to be pretty close, and I'm not going to endanger Claire. But for me personally, like, this is the best angle. I love those intimate angles here. So again, through rehearsal, you would make sure that there's someone holding this mat and something so that when he falls, so let's just do sort of a test run here as if I'm going to be the camera person right here, and I'll leave her there for right now. I'll just sort of stand here and see if we can get sort of a soft fall just to see how the stability of this space is going to hold up on the impact. And
Wait, before you go. And this is me as a stunt guy, the stunt coordinator, say, I have to stand here just for those runaways because the camera guy is looking there, but if Brian goes wild, I need to get him out of the way. Does that make sense? So I'm watching his back.
all right.
So I'm back here.
All right, so this is just a rehearsal. And by the way, you can do a lot of these things on your phone nowadays without having to pay the camera person for
Right.
like all the equipment. Phone footage is an excellent way to do that. All right. Ready and action. I'm pretty happy with that. The framing was good. Now I do want the fall to see, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, hold on.
You do it at maybe about 50% speed, but I do want to see where the impact is.
Do you want him to go past the camera?
I would prefer yes.
Okay, so, yeah. No, you're going to get pulled. He wants you to go past the camera. Let's go with the same speed you guys had. Brian, be conscious there's a camera right here. So same energy. I want you to land right there and be conscious.
So small details here. I switched up my arms to not have, so if I need to get the hell out of the way, I can move that way without like really getting hurt. And then I had my foot that was right next to the mat here. Probably not a good idea because if once he hits that mat, it's going to move, and then the camera's going to do something that I don't want it to happen. So I've moved, and maybe I got about 5 or 6 inches between my foot and this mat, and I can use this arm to sort of stretch out to get in there.
And you also don't want the camera person to have a blown ACL because they get smashed into from the side as well.
All righty. All right. This is a test run, and 3, 2, 1, action. Pretty happy with that. And I didn't touch the mat or anything like that. So that works for me.
up.
Now I think we're ready to do it for real. Claire, come on up.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Got it.
And you can just, I'll block you up and I'll watch my camera person's back. All right.
Choke up higher.
I'll put this in.
I'll hold the pad. Yeah, I know. I want more. Don't give me that. Choke up and pull him. Give a strong action. These guys are used to strong action. Nothing weak.
Camera set. In 3, 2, 1, action.
Late. It was late.
Yeah, let's do it one more.
Yeah, so then you can see what's happening. Once you start actually filming it, you're like, all right, this was I'm gonna need to adjust this a little bit. Let's do one more here. And so again, like I said earlier, repeatable without getting hurt. How many times can you keep doing this without knocking somebody out, basically?
The detail that was missed is, remember I said jolt the camera a little bit on the impact? We didn't get a good jolt, so we're gonna do it one more time. The jolt's not gonna be to the left or to the right. I want it to be like a quick, like boom, right on the impact.
And and there's a trick that's used in post-production a lot of times too. And a lot of times in post-production, when there's a kick or there's a punch being thrown, they'll take out one single frame. Yes. They'll remove one frame at the point of impact. So there's that super quick movement, that snap, because it's a jump cut. They're creating a jump cut, but your eye doesn't notice one frame, but your eye notices something moves really fast. So taking that one single frame out in post-production can then increase essentially the impact and the speed of the take. Even if you're not going at full speed, and a lot of times they'll increase 10% the last 15 frames or something like that. There'll be a 10% increase in the speed in that, so that again, if even in real live action, it's not happening happening that fast, you can do that in post-production so that it's safer on set, but then visually when you're watching it, it has more impact.
So what I want to do here, just to end this, is I'm gonna have Tim back up to the wall, walk in badass, and what I'm gonna do with
Use your
Claire is
microphone.
I'm gonna have her sort of like let's start.
Microphone. Use your microphone.
We're gonna reveal Brian. So all I'm gonna do.
Ryan, we can't hear you without your microphone because we're recording audio.
I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to have Tim sort of walk into this, similar to how we revealed Tim on that side. We're going to reveal Brian on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort of guide Claire back. Obviously, we were doing this for real. We got a steady cam, we got a AC and all that stuff, a dolly operator, all that to make sure that that's in order. That is the appropriate way to do it. Since we're just sort of hustling here, I'm just going to guide her back to make sure she doesn't trip. And we're going to land right back in our drop zone, and then we're going to go for it. So it'll be we'll say at 3, 2, 1 action, and then I'll say 3, 2, 1 go for the stunt. All right, got that, fellas?
Wait, before, because there were some tweaks. This is why you get with your stunt team, because I was tweaking when they were talking. So, Tim, I'm going to give it a little bit more energy on here. I put this a little higher. He's going to fly back. I told him where to stand. What was the other thing that I just changed? Because they're going to come in. Power with a hook. Yeah. So you're going to hear a lot. The action is so they know. And so we're all on the same page. When he gives that loud, hup, that's the yank. So you know, so it's, I said action. Oh, okay, I'm going off their visual or their verbal cue. Because sometimes the stunt goes off of something else. Goes off of like an explosion, a visual cue.
Yeah, action starts the scene, and then there's another sort of a secondary action that starts the stunt.
Yeah, so we built the scene, the stunt crew built the scene off of Tim's, hup! And these guys will know. They're going to give you a 75%.
Cool.
So just so you know, he's going to fly backwards, and his goal is to end here. So.
You can always speed up in post. So 75% is a very good speed. You can add 15, 20% in post on the impact itself, and you're good. All right. Are you ready, Claire? I go ahead, frame them up. We have speed, okay. So once again, 3, 2, 1 action. We'll start the camera move. 3, 2, 1 go, stunt, all right. And 3, 2, 1 action. Come on back. And 3, 2, 1 go.
All right.
Brian, thumbs up.
I think we're pretty good there. I want to make sure we get time for
we're going to do some
Q&A.
questions from the audience, so that's a round of applause for the stunt team.
Okay.
So, and I think, one of the things to notice as well is so much of it can be like camera style. If you look at early 2000s Born Identity kind of stuff, the camera's super tight, it's super close, it's shaky cam, so that it hides a lot of the, not flaws, but it hides a lot of things that you don't have to be as precise with those stunts. But then you move forward, 15 years or so, and now you start getting the John Wick era of action, where it's wide shot so you can see all of the action happening, and it's the highly trained stunt performers, and you're seeing what's happening as far as the action goes. So let's do a couple of questions from the audience. Yes. Questions in the audience, yeah, right in front here.
How long before actual shooting would you recommend getting in touch with the stunt team?
Before actual shooting?
Yeah.
I'll defer to them. I'll give you my answer as far as how much like planning. You get to hire. You figure out who you're going to hire first, right? And then you have to talk to them about what kind of prep time they need. In order to do something. It's important to find references online for whatever stunt that you want to do. So what I wanted to do was a 7-on-1 fight scene, and so I pulled up the Jackie Chan versus the bullies from the new version of Karate Kid, and I sent that to people like, yo, how long does it take to rehearse something like that? I'll talk to these guys about like when would you prefer to be hired, I guess, based on a project, and when would you need to be notified and all that?
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
I like right from the blue sky phase, theme park talk, right from when the idea. So then we can go back and forth and start working. What do you want? Okay, cool, I can give you this, but you're going to need that. So the sooner you get with me, then I start vetting out.
Well, and a lot of it
Talent.
too will be in the script, right? You're going to read the script, and you're going to have a vision from reading the script that's different necessarily from the
Yep.
director. The director wants this, but then you read it and be like, yeah, this is going to cost you $20,000 more than if I make this little change and we do something different right
Stunt
here.
breakdown. I break it
Yeah.
down to what, and the director might not know what actually counts as a stunt. It could be literally like this guy just trips. That counts as a stunt, and then we would go back and forth. Hey, this is a stunt. Where do you want to go with this? Do you want us to prep that? Do you want a full stunt? Do you want us to
Let's sit down and finish the
Yeah.
Q&A so that the camera can get everybody great. Thank you guys again. Great job.
Yeah.
All right, we have another question in the front there.
Okay, so quick question. When it comes to, like, say, a fight scene, you as a director, good sir, how often should we rely on our cuts? Like, you know, like when it comes like to the hits or, you know, like.
So that's, again, not to beat the dead horse of pre-production. You have to have a vision of how you want it to go.
Okay.
And what's being seen now in Hollywood is a lot of one-take stuff.
Right.
Where you're not cutting to anything. So in those situations, like, you have to nail it. Now, what I would tell anybody in here to do is that, yes, you can go into it with the plan of doing it on a oneer. Totally fine. Record it as if it is not going to be a oneer, because you never, ever know. It is horrifying to end up in post and not have an answer to, 12 feet of space or 12 inches of space, and it's very obvious that there was no contact made. So you rely on your cuts as needed, but you should always film it as if you are going to get those cuts.
Necessary baggage, basically.
Absolutely.
So shoot the oneer, but also shoot the oneer like from a different angle.
Yes,
if
and
anything.
like, I know tripods are kind of like going out of style now. I get it, but there's nothing wrong with throw it on a tripod, get your wide shot. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you never know when you could need it, and you could do it on a situation where you're rolling on your Steadicam. There are ways to set your cameras up, multi-camera, where you can get a decent angle from the B cam. And I'm speaking specifically for stunts because, again, wear and tear, danger. Something could go wrong on take one, and then that's it. And you have to have that in there. But again, I always rely on my cuts. I don't go into it saying, yeah, we're just going to cut. But obviously having intelligence to recognize when the stunt is going, you had it visioned one way and it didn't really go that way. So then you have to be able to hot read it and be like, all right, reverse angle. This contact is not landing.
Well, and I would say from an independent film perspective, which is generally lower budget as well, and we're talking to independent filmmakers here, as someone who's literally watched thousands of films for the Sunscreen Film Festival and films that we're reviewing to put into the festival, when somebody sends an action film, it's blatantly obvious like how poorly done they are, just because they don't have the budget or the experience to try. They have this ambition to want to do this great stunt sequence, but it never turns out well. So don't be afraid of having lots of coverage and close-ups and being able to edit around your scenes, because if you want to make it look as good as it can possibly be.
Cool, thank you.
All right, another question.
Okay, so let's piggyback on that a little bit. Let's talk about the ABCs of how to prep for a action scene, right? Like the permitting, all the things that you need. If you need an armorer, if you're gonna do, for special effects for weapons and guns. Let's talk about that.
I love this.
There's a lot that we didn't get into.
Yes.
Driving and weapons and so much. We could do a sequel follow-up on focusing on that, I'm sure. Greg will talk about that one.
Yes, before we get into the ABCs, I totally agree with that. For a stunt, Kim Kahana, who's been one of my stunt mentors, he's like Golden Age Hollywood. He would say, shoot stunts, minimum 3 cameras. There is always a wide, minimum 3 cameras. So when you walk on a set, or you're gonna shoot action, Even if it's your iPhone, because iPhones are amazing right now. Pull that iPhone, set it up somewhere. Minimum 3 cameras. So now we can go through the ABCs. ABCs start at the very beginning. I'm always prepping. For me, in my experience, so I don't have to keep saying it, in my experience, in my training, in my background. So whatever I say, that will be the preface of that, okay, guys? So you might have a different experience than I had, which will lead us to A, B, and C. So for it was the training, the experience, and coming in at all the different angles of like, okay, I'm gonna do, let's say cars. Okay, cool, so I know walking in, I'm gonna do a 3-car chase scene. Okay, is it a closed set? Do we have spotters? Is it barriered off? Have we spoken to the authorities? And now this goes past the stunt coordinator. This is now the safety advisor in me. This is where I start going, okay, cool. Now, you brought me down here, Apple Studios brings me down to Cartagena, Colombia, because my job is to, like, you're doing stunts, you're doing rigging, you're doing action. Now, my job is to make sure it all comes together for the AD and for the director. So, did you get your permit set up? Yeah, we got it set up. Who's closing out the set? Oh, they got it over there. Okay, cool. Let's look at a layout. Let's look at the layout of the plans. Let's do it with Hot Wheels cars. You're building all those ABCs. This is before you even get on set. Cool, okay, we got that. Locations is locked up. Cool, okay, now we have all those little pieces set up. We have everyone on talkies. We have everyone in their positions. Cool, okay, now let's go walk the set. So we start walking that set. We see, oh, dude, you didn't close that set. I see bogeys. Bogey's gonna come in during a chase scene. Look, these people are taking photos. These people are doing selfies. This is not a closed set. Can we do it right now? No, we need to like hold a second. Let's get control of this set. And then you'll see some people get really livid because they're like, dude, you don't have control of the set. Control the set. Someone can die in here. And who will they go at the end of the day? Well, it was Spielberg's picture that person died because they didn't have control of the set. And then Spielberg or whoever, Apple Studios will go, well, that safety guy okayed it. So whose neck is on the line? Is that safety guy? That would be a me or the stunt guy. So so you have to prep all those things, those little pieces, the rehearsals, the locking it up, the eye in the sky, whether it's a drone or a helicopter or whatever, all those little pieces. Then you start pulling in your vets. You know, so-and-so's a driver. This is where I say, don't fake it to make it. You're not a driver. Don't say you can drive unless you have that reel and you got vetted out.
And there are stunt driving schools in Florida, in Orlando.
Yeah, Bobby Orr.
Yeah,
a really good guy, Bobby Orr. You want to drive, go to Bobby Orr's. He will teach you those precision things because he'll be the first one to say, oh, don't say you can drive and go on set. I'm going to come to a story where I had a stunt coordinator say that to me, like, if you're going to put it on your resume, you better be able to back it up because somebody can die. And I was like, I'll say that story because this is part of the ABCs. I was first starting out. I was doing a
microphone a little closer.
Sorry. So I was first starting out. I was doing a stunt show out of Universal Studios. And I was a newbie. I was like, I can kick, I can punch, I can do whatever the hell, whatever. And this stunt coordinator, Jason Gray, he's worked on like almost everything. He's huge, especially in the early 2000s. He worked on everything that was CW. So he's like, hey, Kev, come on. We're going to go up on the set. We're about, I think the Wild West set was 60 feet high. And he's telling me the story. He goes, Kevin, if you put anything on your resume, better be able to back it up. I was like, okay, Jason, whatever, man. I'm like 22, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, he goes, so I brought this guy up. This guy said I can do a certain type of rigging. It was technical rigging. So I took this guy, and he's telling me the story. And it was a learning lesson for me. And he goes, so I took this guy up on set. Guy said, I can do all this, I can do that. Didn't have any, he just said it on his resume. So he took him on set, and he threw the guy the rope. Said, okay, tie yourself off and rappel. Go. And the guy just sit there. Like, Guess what happened to that guy? Got thrown off set. Because you can't fake it to make it. This is where the ABCs in the training. So he told me that story. I was like, oh, shoot. I guess I won't fake it to make it. So if I have to learn something, learn it. It's okay. Take that time.
Yeah, you don't want to fake and say, it's time to do a 30-foot high fall. You've never done a 30-foot high fall before, and now you've got to jump off a building.
I just had to, we just did an event where I had a bunch of rich people say they wanted to do a 30-foot high fall. And then when it got to them to do a 5-foot high fall, they were like, nope. And it was to an airbag that was this high. So now you figure, you're going to do it was a 6-foot fall onto a 3-foot pad. What are you really falling? 3 feet. Nope. I was like, okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, I'll get you up to the 10 feet. And they were like, nah, dude, that's right.
All right, so we have time for maybe 2 more questions, real quick, in the back there.
Hi. So for someone who wants to be a stunt performer or has background in like action, martial arts, performing, etc., what advice would you give to a potential performer that you might want to hire onto your set? Or because you guys talked a lot about safety, like obviously people want to break into this scene, but you also have to be safe, but they're also new. So things like that.
You want to go?
Well, I'm not a stunt performer, obviously, but I will say that, you know, when I'm looking to hire folks, like obviously, like the basic professional things, like can you show up on time with a positive attitude and enthusiasm? Like that's everything. Like even if a person is not like necessarily the most talented, if you can show the ability to be on time and show up with positive energy, like that's everything. Beyond that, you got to have a demo. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to have something to show people. Resumes for what we do, they're secondary. We want to see what you can do. And then your resume is like, oh, you work with this person, that person, this person vouches for you. That's icing on the cake. But you got to have a visual representation. Even if you're a martial artist, you're just doing some kicks and punches and stuff like that and some break falls. Like that means something. And then, so I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, no, I love that. What's your name? Cameron? Lopez. Nice. Okay, I love that energy because you were with me in 1998. Because what was your background?
I've done a lot of things.
Tell me. I love it. Tell me.
Sure, I'll tell you everything. So I started out, and I have 10 years of martial arts. I have my black belt in traditional Ishinu karate. In 2022, I was in LA for 6 weeks, going to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I trained at Jam Movement. And also in 2023, I trained at Jam Movement for about a week. I've also trained in stage combat performance at the Bay Area Renaissance Festival and the Sarasota Medieval Festival. We're actually in season right now.
Awesome.
So I'm actually currently performing every single weekend and will until the end of November.
So you're working, you're doing stuff, and so
Yes,
your
sir.
question is like, how do you get into more film and
Because
TV?
I am going from a live action audience. I'm about to graduate college with my art degree. I'm going from a performing action for a live audience to wanting to do things like this.
Let me just say that just you sitting here presenting the way you did, I'd hire you. Like seriously, like, I'm not lying. Like the way you would talk with the enthusiasm, you were articulate, and you talk with, you know, just like you want to do it. Like that energy that I'm feeling it. Like yeah, if I had something going on, I'd be like, yo, give me your contact information. I'm gonna be in touch.
Will do.
I love the energy. I do. I'd size you up. I'd say, do you have any reels? No, it's all right. And you'd say, no, I don't have it. I'd say, that's cool, because I really like you. I'd say, am I allowed to bring her on set?
Sure, yeah,
Hey, come
on
here.
up.
Folks,
Yeah.
Come on up.
listen, by the way, use your phones, man. Start recording your stunts. See, like all that. Like we gotta record. Somebody record for her so she can have this in her portfolio for real.
I want to put this mic down, but I can't. You guys got to hear my words. So I would size her up. She's about my size. Cool. No, dude, stand there. It's all right. I'm short.
Why don't you guys slide over onto the mats?
Yeah, come here. No, you're not going to fight. I'd say, dude, you have all that training? Yeah, the karate. Dude, that's awesome. Can you do a shoulder roll and a forward roll?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Let's see your forward roll. This is how I would test these people. Just do a basic forward roll. Nice shoulder roll. Let me see a forward roll. Ooh, nice dive forward roll. So she's giving me extra. Okay, cool. Now I'd say, don't get nervous as I'm strolling up. Okay, cool. Now let's see how you take direction. I just want a basic forward roll. Do you need to see it done? You sure? I like the roll.
He wants to do it.
He just wants to do it. He's itching to just do something.
Say a basic forward roll. Dude, your dive rolls, awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
But sometimes when you're on set, they'd say, hey, tone down the magic a bit.
Okay.
Tone it down. So they would just say, forward roll. So, some directors,
She was too excited. She had too
I
much
know, and it
energy.
would do,
She was just
and I love
ready
that.
to go.
Who's got my hat? So
You threw it on the.
all right, cool. So I would like the energy is awesome, but sometimes you would have, and I've had that where I've had coordinators who are like, dude, you got a lot of energy, bro. Got to tone that down. Tone it down. You're a little too much. You're a little much. So I'd say, hey, just give me a forward roll, basic forward roll. And then I'd say, wow, dude, I saw what she did before. I know she can move. And now I just saw her take direction. I'd say, cool, hey, what are you doing Monday? Are you available? Are you union? Are you non-union? I'd ask all those questions because I'd say, cool. Are you okay just to come help on set, pull pads? As soon as she says yes, I know this is cool because then I can see that they don't have that ego. I'm not like, pull pads? I came here to throw punches and falls. Oh no, I'll gladly pull pads. Bam, you're hired. Awesome, I'll see you Monday morning.
Well, and so much of getting work is getting the first job and doing a good job on the first one so that they know that you can take direction,
Yep.
they know you're good to work with, and then after that, then you get the next job because they're going to reach out to Kevin, they're going to reach out to Ryan, and they're going to say, all right, who do you want to bring on? You bring your people, and then it's one to the next, to the next, to the next.
It starts off as a mentorship.
Yeah.
Mentorship's super important. You start getting with those crews. You know, I'd say, how tall are you? 5'5". You can double me. Maybe she's a little bit taller than me. No, but honestly, I'd say, hey, you know something? Besides coming to my stunt school, I'd say, hey, you live locally. Is there a trampoline school nearby?
Flying
You'd say
squirrel.
defy, whatever, defy, altitude, whatever. I'd say, start meeting up there. I go there Sunday mornings. I take my kids out there. We do high falls. What are you doing Sunday? Come out and play. And then I start to see, okay, cool, you did all those falls. Hey, you want to learn a high fall? And she'd say, yeah, I want to learn a high fall. Cool. I take her out there. It's like 10 feet. I say, watch my little girl do it. She's 7. Do exactly what she did. And you
Well,
do.
and so I think that, similar to just actors without stunts as well, usually people are in acting classes and people will reach out to the instructors of the acting classes to then do auditions. And so the same kind of thing, you guys are the only stunt school around that I know of, if people are looking for stunt people, they reach out to whoever's running the stunt school to ask, what's happening. And the same kind of thing, when it comes to acting, people want to see that you're doing something to continue your craft and work on your craft. And if you're not in some kind of class as an actor to continue your craft, the same thing for stunts. What are you doing to continue your craft and continue to learn? So on that note, we've gone on for a while here. It's been a lot. We could almost have a part 2 at some point in time.
We're happy to have you guys again.
Yeah.
Of course.
And just one final thing, just the way she came up here and she was able to tone it down, that's important because, again, we don't need a million Jackie Chans on set. Even if you have that ability, you have to show the ability to roll it back. Jackie Chan did not start being Jackie Chan until after he was fighting. He was like Bruce Lee's stunt double and stuff like that. That's how he broke into the industry. They didn't just say, all right, here you go, Rumble in the Bronx, go do it. He started doing similar to what she did, making a good impression with an established veteran within the business.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming out. We appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys coming.